This is True North Climbing in Toronto, located in some old repurposed airplane hangars up in Downsview Park. It's accessible by the subway. Not too easy to get to by car if you're not familiar with the area, but all around a pretty accessible place. Nice and open front desk. And my favorite part here, just beside the waiver stations, is an ice cream chest. And lots of snacks. Above the waiver station, really cool idea. If you have these, all of the certifications for the employees mounted on the wall right as you're signing your kid's life away. Some added retail to the desk. I don't think this was built in the original desk build. It seems to be attached on top of the original desk. So if you're looking for retail space, this is kind of a cool way to do it while still keeping that countertop available just on an upper level. These are their belay tags. They just do a laminated with an elastic attachment. Red is for top rope belay. Green is for the three different types of lead belay. That's gree, tube, and both. Yellow for lead climb only. Blue for auto belay certed. And pink is for new climbers that aren't certified at all. These walls were built in 2010 by Eldorado. And a nice open, kind of exciting space as you walk in. And we'll get through all of this broken down kind of section by section. One thing that may have stood out so far is this stalactite. This is one of the highest parts of the gym. It is an airplane hangar, and so you get these tall kind of troughs in different parts of the gym that, first of all, allow in a lot of light, but also give you an extension of the height of the wall. So this stalactite is structurally supported by the roof section of the gym, with nothing underneath it, which makes it a pretty cool feature. But at the same time, it's not too hard to get started on. While you don't have feet right at the bottom, it isn't too inaccessible or difficult for new climbers. And as you can see in the top of those windows, letting in lots of natural light. It's probably the best lit gym kind of in Toronto. A feature in their flooring that they added from installation is this red flooring under their like high danger zones, as kind of a warning sign for kids or new climbers of where there's a lot of risk or where new climbers shouldn't be positioned. So in this lead cave, also by their boulder. And if you walk through that cave, that arch you just saw, you come into this section again with more red flooring that we're about to see. And there's only one wall angle in this gym that confuses me, and it's a feature that juts out of the arch. You can see it there, that little knob. I'm not really sure what that's for. But again, nice tall walls in the extended ceiling areas of the gym. Now we got some new climbers about to get on the auto belays. They added in, I think it's 12 auto belays within the last year. I'm a huge fan of auto belays. I think every gym should have them. It just makes it so easy to integrate new climbers and solo climbers, which is something I care about a lot as somebody that usually climbs on my own. Just a great way to climb without a partner whenever you want. Multiple different routes per auto belay, and of course this carved hand crack. All of the grades are mounted on these aluminum tags, so the aluminum tags are printed. You can't change the grade on them. You just get lots of these things. They're very durable. You put tape on them if you want to note the location or the setter, but they last forever. They're easy to clean. I'd made this design at my old gym, but got inspired by Joey Leno at Aspire to use the aluminum. This is their second section with some easier and shorter ropes, and of course their boulder. A nice carved natural feature boulder as well, which gets tons of traffic from kids. And the rope wall, shorter walls, a little more accessible in the angles, and it's also got this kind of closet-sized chimney, which I think For myself, I'd probably get tired of having to set with this, but you know that for a lot of climbers, it's a cool new feature. This thing gets lots of traffic from kids, and it's one of those things that I'm never sure if I should advocate new gyms having something like this. It definitely gets attention. Lots of pictures get taken. All the kids climb on top of this and pose for pictures. But the holds do get greasy over time. This is their main boulder, and of course they've got 2 slack lines mounted in the gym. Fairly short walls, but really steep, so kind of bit of a reputation as a powerful gym. And the boulder wall tapers down slowly and includes this kind of backfill currently for kids. And it's actually this tapered section that is how you access the top of the boulder. It is a top-out boulder. And they've got a makeshift vert area to practice comp rules, and this open space for parties with some sink space. This is the taper of the boulder with rungs attached to make it easier to climb up and down, and they've actually done a really good job of using that space on top of the boulder recently to extend their offering. Lots of warning signs around. This is an added slab that they put on top of that boulder area, and because it's so narrow up top, mats weren't really enough to prevent falls, so they also had to include this netting to prevent people from falling over the edge, which is anchored at the top of the wall, but also at the bottom, just using bolts. It's nice and strong. You can lean against it. If you fall into it, it's going to keep you from going off the edge. They've also got a bike and I think a rowing machine up here. And the nice thing about the netting is that it's transparent, so if you're on the ground floor, you can still see everything going on up top, which you couldn't if you tried to put up a protective wall. They also have this this vert section, which I think they normally use as a kind of system traverse. You can see from the rubber shadows that there are normally lots of holds on it, but recently they've been running setting clinics for their members, and so they've been using this area to teach route setting to new setters. And from the other side of the nets, this kind of gives you an overview of the gym. You can see that nice big mural of some of their original youth competitive climbers. And you can note by the girl sitting that there's a bit of a top-out rail on some sections of this boulder wall. And kind of nice to put up pictures of the youth team. You can see how much youth teams grow once you start your gym. They can kind of grow like weeds if you keep offering good coaching. This is the training area, and a lot of this was added after the fact. So a moon board, space for rings and free weights, also big campus wall, a bit of a system wall, lots of hangboards, a really efficient use of this fairly small space. And I can imagine it being really cramped when they've got team training going on here, but a good way to put everything in. This is the setting door, and it's a really small door, which made me worried about the setting room, but the room itself is actually huge. So while it looks really difficult to get stuff out of the setting room, you got tons of space. Lots of rolling shelves. This is kind of like their reject bin, which I like because I know every gym has one of these. All of the colors that don't quite fit in. Very politely calling undesirables at the bottom. They've been called worse for sure. Everything organized by color and I think by size. All the bolts sorted by size, which I appreciate. I can't believe some gyms don't do that. It's such a time saver. If you just use bolt buckets, you gotta get on board. And these windows in this setting room makes it so bright. It's an overcast day, but the room is just so huge. There's so much space. And it looks like the crew is a big fan of the magnetic wristbands. And they've all got their space for their gear. And something I really appreciate is a setting crew that doesn't run out of tape. So props to these guys. Anyway, this is True North Climbing in Toronto, Ontario. If you're ever in the area, make sure you stop by.